Welcome back to the Ride Podcast. This episode is a bonus episode with Brad Barkemeyer as he breaks down an audio lesson. We hope that you enjoy this episode.
One common problem that occurs in green riders and green horses is the lack of forward motion, and it can become a problem especially if it becomes a habit and the horse gets out of work and learns that that's a way that they can avoid doing what you're asking. It can become dangerous because that's a horse that won't go forward, often will rear or back up and put you in a dangerous situation. So I'm going to talk a little bit about a couple of things that you can do to alleviate the lack of forward motion in your horse. And a lot of it has to do with your own body position, what you're doing with your hands, your feet, and your upper body in relation to how your horse is responding to that. So the main common denominator in a rider that's having trouble getting their horse to move forward is usually the upper body has a tendency to want to come forward to encourage the horse to go forward. But what that does is it actually works just the opposite and will cause the horse to balk or to back up. So if you're having trouble getting your horse to move forward, the worst thing you can do is lean forward and try to get the horse to go, right? So it puts your feet in a bad position, you get out of balance, and a lot of times it will also endanger yourself by allowing your head to be in front of the saddle horn, where if the horse does rear, there's a chance that it can come into contact and hit you in the face or the head. So check yourself first, make sure that you're sitting back, that you're in a athletic riding position, weight on your seat, majority of the weight on your seat and the minority of your weight on your feet. Also the slack in the reins is critical at this point, because usually it comes from us trying to do maneuvers, whether it's turning or moving forward with collection, that gets the horse confused or frustrated. So if I'm at a standstill like this and I just want my horse to walk forward, I'm going to actually sit back in my saddle a little bit. I'm going to relax my lower back so that it's a little more round, and I don't want to be sitting up straight in a defensive position. I want to be relaxed, sitting down heavy, and encourage motion by just creating energy with my legs. If I can just tap my feet slightly without picking my hands up, a lot of times that will result in just a nice forward walk. If that doesn't work, if you've put your hands down, you're sitting properly, you're bumping your feet, and the horse refuses, that's where I think it's critical that you go into a lateral type move so that you give the horse somewhere else to go besides front, straight ahead or straight back. One rein, usually a nice slow pull on the direct rein to give that horse somewhere to go. All you're after at this point is movement in the feet. It doesn't matter if they're pulling against your hand. It doesn't matter if they're throwing their head. What you need is movement of the legs. And by turning that horse's head and getting them slightly off balance, that will encourage them to move their feet. A lot of times you won't even have to kick. You'll just encourage that horse to follow its nose. If it's stuck still and you've got that bend like that, now you can add your legs and say, hey, come on, get those feet moving. Now, if you've got a horse that wants to stop immediately, as soon as you get movement out of the horse's feet, you want to quit kicking, you want to quit pulling, you want to reward the horse by doing what you asked the first time. So say we're stuck here, I can't get my horse to go, I pull that nose to the side, nothing happens. Now I add my legs, I say, come on, let's go. All right, as soon as he's moving, okay, I'm done. I'm not gonna pull anymore. I'm just gonna let this horse walk, quit picking on him, say, okay, that's all I'm after, right? Now, the other side of it, and the more dangerous side of it, is if you've asked the horse to go forward and you're kicking and nothing's happening and the horse actually starts backing up. Well, the worst thing, like I said before, the worst thing you can do is lean forward and try to get that horse to go, right, while they're backing up. So if I've got one that's stuck in reverse, it's the same kind of concept. You want to pull that nose right or left and give that horse's front end somewhere to travel so that they become out of balance and they break their skeletal system out of alignment so that you reduce the risk of a rear or backing up so quickly that they fall over. An additional mistake that's made by some riders is they want to take their feet away from the horse. Maybe the horse is backing up, so they take their feet off to encourage forward motion. Well, when they do that, they'll have a stiffness in their back and they'll actually lean backwards. Well, when your feet are out in front of you and you've leaned backwards, it doesn't really matter whether your horse is going forward or backwards. You're not in a good position to help your horse in any way. It creates tension, right? So you're pushing on those stirrups and your muscles are tight in your legs, which creates tightness in your back, which creates tightness through your hands. And all of those things communicate right through the horse, and they feel that nervous energy or that tension, which usually is not helpful.
Thank you guys for tuning into this special episode of the Ride Podcast. Stay tuned as we release regular episodes of The Ride. Please let us know how you like this audio lesson by emailing us at horseandrider@aimmedia.com. Thank you guys.